Vin Diesel makes a lot of money on the Fast and Furious movies. That's no surprise. But now, thanks to a couple of articles, we're starting to get a picture of exactly how much money Vin Diesel's made. Now, listen, I am a big Vin Diesel fan. I am a 100%. I admit my bias. I really, really like Vin Diesel. Doesn't mean I like everything he does, but I'm a big fan of Vin Diesel. And I just thought this was really interesting. So Screen Rant, one of the bigger entertainment websites out there, they ran an article and they basically were running down, if you were curious about how much money Vin Diesel has made doing the Fast and Furious movies, well, we got the numbers, at least for most of the movies. Take a look at this. So on the first Fast and Furious movie, which I think is hot garbage, by the way, I do not like the first Fast and Furious movie, just a blatant Point Break ripoff. But Vin Diesel got paid $2 million on that. On Too Fast, Too Furious, or as Jonathan would call it, Too Dirty, Too Dancing, he did not appear. So no money for that. On Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, which he only appeared in as in a cameo at the end, but apparently he agreed to appear as a cameo in the end in exchange to get the movie rights to the Riddick franchise. So I'd say that worked out pretty well for him. What he made on Fast and Furious, the fourth film, is undisclosed. So we don't know for that. On Fast 5, he made $15 million. On Fast 6, it's undisclosed. And then the most money he made was on Furious 7, where he made $47 million. And then in each of the ones since he made 20, Fate of the Furious in 2017, he made 20 million. F9, he made 20 million. Fast and Furious 10, he made 20 million. Hey, Screen Actors, if you wonder why some of your lower line actors don't get paid enough, maybe it's because guys are making $20 million on a movie for one person. But hey, if anybody in the world deserves it, it's my boy Vin. He does it because these movies have made a lot of money. Rob, this is an ungodly amount of money. that you're making here. I mean, 20 million per film on average. One film he made $47 million on. It's a lot of films. It's a lot of money, but at the same time, there's not many situations like this one where you have a franchise with literally 10 films in it. And you've got one guy who is, he doesn't pay the bills for the movie, but he's the face of the franchise, even though he wasn't in every single one of them. But it's been a big box office success for the most part. 10 films running over 22 years now. This franchise has been going, and he's been the main face of it. I mean, if there ever was a template for somebody who should probably stand to reap a lot of reward for that, it's probably Vin Diesel in this particular situation. I don't know. These numbers don't really surprise me. That $47 million he made for Furious 7 is kind of big. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Vessi. Now, like me, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Vessi, the shoe that claims to be incredibly comfortable and waterproof on top of that. Well, these claims are really interesting to me because as a Canadian who walked around in a lot of snow, and as somebody who likes to go camping and hiking with his wife on the weekends, there's nothing more uncomfortable and horrible than walking around in wet feet. So after receiving my first pair of Vessis and noticing how incredibly good looking the shoes are and how mind-boggling comfortable and flexible they are, the first thing I did was I took them into the backyard to put it to the supreme waterproof test and dipped my feet in my pool. Guys, my feet were bone dry, and like 20 seconds after having them in the pool and I touched them, the shoes themselves were also bone dry. Guys, seriously, these shoes are stupidly comfortable, they look great, and they absolutely lived up to the claim of being waterproof and keeping my feet dry. I absolutely love my Vessi shoes. So guys, if you want shoes that are good looking, are ridiculously comfortable, and on top of all that waterproof, you need to head to vessi.com/Campea and get yourselves a pair today. Go to vessi.com/Campea and get shoes for your best summer yet. Anyway, you took a look at this. What do you think?
Well, I'm sure that it looks to me, judging by these numbers, like his base salary was probably $20 million for Fast 9 and Fast 10, and then he had a percentage of grosses. So the reason I think he made a lot of money on Fast 7 was that's a $1.5 billion grossing movie.
Right.
So the reason I think he made $47 million was he probably got a base salary of 20 and then made another $27 million based on the earnings of that movie. So,
and it's interesting to note that since Fast 7, the box office has continued to decline.
Gone down. But still, I mean, there's 11 movies if you count Hobbs and Shaw in this entire franchise. Whoever would have thought that Rob Cohen's first movie, which was kind of a riff on a 50s movie, comes back, and Point Break, would lead to 11 films and how many?
22 years?
I mean, that's insane. So, and the fact that Vin Diesel had to be coerced to come back, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting that in order to do his cameo in Tokyo Drift, he didn't get anything, but he got the rights to the Riddick franchise, and they made, there's now 3 Riddick movies. I think they're going to make maybe a 4th. That was a good move. It's like Vin Diesel's not a stupid guy.
It's funny. Back in 2003, it might have been 2002, 2003, when it became known that Vin Diesel was not coming back for Fast and the Furious 2. And the LA Times did an interview with him in which he said, I'm not going to come back and do the franchise anymore because I don't want to get pigeonholed only playing one certain type of character. Well, Vin, you did get pigeonholed only playing one certain type of character, whether it's Triple X, whether it's Riddick, whether it's this, and it damn well worked. It worked beautifully. It worked to the tune of probably his net. They're saying, LA Times now saying his net worth is like $223 million or something like that. So I'd say, hey, I get it. You were right. You were going to get pigeonholed. But there was a lot of money in that pigeonhole, and you made out like a bandit. So I think it worked out okay for him.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.